My prediction for the #1 op. Bro, I almost want to say like Mew or like Ash. Let's see it.
This is the worst operator in Rainbow Six. Playing Sense makes me want
I
to
agree.
my meat with a cheese grater. Sense will make the worser version of Smoke Grenade.
I agree.
By explosives.
Sense is the worst in the game.
I would rather play literally every other operator in the game.
Even after Sense got buffed, Sense is still probably the worst operator in the game. This video is already accurate.
Game in basically every situation. Even Blackbeard, who happens to be the 69th best operator in the game. Nice. As nice as it is to be 69th, Blackbeard shields are still just as strong as Paper Mache, and there's not much going for him at all. Play him like an entry, and you might win some gunfights, or you'll just die and regret your actions like I do half of the time.
Terrible rain.
And terrible rain is also just a terrible experience now. With all the traps in the game, it doesn't even matter if you can sneak past the cameras because you're just gonna get alerted by the traps.
Knock at 68?
So that blows, and the FMG9 is also pretty garbage, along with the grenades that just got nerfed. So
I don't know about this.
And somehow she's still even better.
Knock at 68.
Though Oryx is also bringing nothing to the table these days. The sight holes and rotates.
Okay, this is true. Oryx fucking sucks.
His dash ability is simply not.
Oryx sucks.
Every other defender in the game brings more useful utility and is more consistent when compared to Oryx. He's a selfish operator that can be good for a couple different runouts. He can jump up patches, and he's
Oryx sucks. I agree.
Really not doing much at all. Tachanka is also a pretty terrible operator. Well, at
agreed.
His ability is. His fire is literally so bad that most of the time your Tachanka player will just die trying to use it in the first place.
Yep, exactly. Bro, here's the thing with Tachanka, bro. His fire does no damage. Like, if somebody shoots a Tachanka at me in a 1v1, I'm just gonna run through the fire and rip their head off. It does like 8 damage, bro. It is ass. Chat, what operator do you think is going to be #1?
We walk through it and shoot him while it's out, or he's busy.
Chat, I low-key think Nook was way too badly ranked.
Isn't justified enough.
Nook is not 68. He's been right everything else, though.
Going for him is the LMG, which deals massive damage and has the
this is true.
Destructibility asset for some solid plays. If I'm personally playing Tachanka, I'm not even going to touch his ability.
66 on Tachanka.
Isn't worth the small reward of doing a little bit of damage to the attackers. If Ubisoft just made the Shamika launcher slightly better to the point where it was viable, Tachanka could be a very strong operator. If you want to be stronger at the game regardless of your operator pick, though, we need to talk about one other way you can get the advantage, and that's with the Pucks on Lux charm, baby. That's right.
W promo, I respect it.
Destroy everyone with the power of the professional Rainbow Six player at your side every step of the way. If you want to get it yourself, simply subscribe to me on Twitch and then link your Twitch account to your Ubisoft account if it isn't already. Honestly, it's my favorite charm in the entire game, which is totally not biased. Plus, if you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe completely free.
Jynxzi charm better.
Get the charm. Anyway,
Jynxzi charm better.
That's my little promo for this video. Now let's continue with the bottom of the barrel operator dog meat sack balls. Next up, we have Thunderbird at number 65. Her are kind
I disagree, sir.
Compared to Dog.
Oh, my face cam
froze.
froze.
Can die and they can still be useful. However, they can be also very useful for the attackers if they gain control of the site. I think she's definitely overhyped and not as good as people think. And if you like her, you're probably copper or just bad or you smell or something. I don't know. Keep in mind, she also has only the one-time sight option compared to Doc with a 1.5, and her secondary utility is kind of weak.
He's right.
I'm picking Doc over Thunderbird every day of the week, and so should you. Vigil can be a decent pick, but he's simply...
You put Vigil at 64? Okay, I see what he's doing. This guy's just a utility guy. He's a big... He cares about utility. Which, honestly, this is kind of fair.
Outmatched by the other defenders. His gadget has fallen out of meta, and most other operators.
He cares about utility, which I respect.
I don't really have anything bad to say about Vigil. He's fine, you know? He's just not, like, the best. Or really even, like, he's fine, you know what I mean? Anyway, let's move on to Blitz. I personally love Blitz. I think he's underrated and has some wild strategies that he can be used for. The problem with Blitz, however, lies in the high risk and low protection provided by
Chat, I don't know about
kind of like all-in approach to his playstyle. With so many of the in-meta defenders having impact,
Blitz is way better than 63.
Lineup, and traps will also just ruin his day very frequently. He can have his moments where he's very strong, but most of the time he's just not. Maybe the shield rework will make him better, but
I'm not muted.
And see. Unless you're watching this when the shield rework is out already, then in that case, let me know where you'd place him now. Next up is Callie, and Callie would normally be like a bottom 3 operator for me, but with the introduction of Tubero and the grenade nerf, her ability is now much more useful. Because the vertical takes are so much weaker now, not only is she good for destroying the bandit batteries, but having a sniper that can lock down angles on horizontal pushes will be more useful now that those kind of pushes are going to be more common. The downside to Callie is the baiting culture that surrounds her with holding ridiculous of rounds and not being part of the push with the team. However, if you get up with the team and use her secondary gun as more of a primary, she can actually be a viable pick. Plus, you can do some cool rush plays with barricades, opening them instantly for your team. That, or just open a ton of different barricades around.
Bro, who's he gonna have at 1 though?
Areas. Callie's definitely on the come up for me. Ela isn't much.
Buzz with the 10 gifted. Oh my god, Buzz, give me that Buzz.
Stronger than Callie, though, being one of the weakest trap operators on the defense. Her guns are fine, her ability is good for info, and occasionally you can even use them aggressively to make plays. You're better off, though, just placing them around the site or wherever you're playing for some high-quality information on where the attackers are coming from. But they're easy to break, and their effects are very weak, landing her at number 61.
61 on Ela, okay. That's fair, that's fair.
Worst operator in the game. Clash. As bad as Clash is, she can be super powerful on a select few sites, which is why I have her so high.
Clash has the lowest win rate,
and you're being a detriment to your team, but pick her at the right times, and you could completely turn a game around. Not only can she stop.
Here's the thing: in tournaments, Clash is very good when you have it in the right hands. I just feel like a lot of like really bad players gravitate towards Clash, like players who literally can't even aim their gun. That's why the win rate is so bad on Clash. Agree or disagree, chat?
Stop aggression, but she's great for information and tilting the other team.
This video's pretty good, actually.
And play
he has ball knowledge.
Caught off in bad areas. There's a lot of hope for you.
I actually am curious to see his top 3.
Going to be pissed at you for playing her, so kind of like take that information as you wish. Alibi is next up as a pretty decent defender with a.
This is fair. 59, yeah.
It's kind of mid. Alibi really hasn't been played much ever since she lost her 1.5 sight, but that doesn't mean that she's necessarily bad. Her gun is still really good, and she can be super strong on sites with lots of windows that can't be repelled on, like the
59's fair. I agree.
Attackers can't hop in through them without getting pinged by the clone. That's what they're called, clones. Since she has the observation blockers, there's some interesting plays you can make when you keep the prismas behind the observation blockers. People that don't drone are obviously going to be surprised by the clones, and the people that do will have to drone all the way past the observation blocker to actually see that there's a clone behind it. Playing
good aim. Oh my god.
Can lead to some interesting interactions. I still think Alibi is a solid operator.
Yeah.
But her ability could just be better. Maybe they should.
You're not wrong.
My count up to 5. Thoughts? What do you think about that? What do you think about that? I think it could either be a lot of fun or super annoying and awful. Fuse is higher on this list than you might expect, but those cluster charges can be very strong for destroying utility using various windows, walls, and floors around the site. While you're probably only going to get kills with it if you're in a low rank, you're terrible along with your opponents, it's still very useful at the higher ranks. Using the cluster charges on reinforced walls allows for a great counter to bandit tricking, and you can even hard breach the wall yourself afterwards. Fuse's biggest weakness is his slow speed and slow placement of the gadget, and with Tubero being the newest addition, he's even weaker. Number 57 is Mozzie. Mozzie is fine, you know. He's fine. If you're picking Mozzie, you're not hurting your team by any means.
Yeah.
He's time, and having the info from the drones can be good, but most of the time he's just really a worse version of Mute.
See, my favorite thing about this video is this guy literally only cares about utility, and he's not just picking ops based off guns. That's what I like about this video.
It's not very often that you actually hack the drone and that drone becomes like a pivotal part of your defense.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He does have 2 great guns and a C4, giving him not so terrible spot on this list, but we have a lot of defenders to go through, and some are just a whole lot stronger. Like Capitao, even though he's an attacker and not a defender, he's still
56?
a little bit stronger than Mozzie. He gets a lot of hate, you know? So what if his
he's pretty good,
slow,
actually.
clunky, and mid? He can still be very powerful on a variety of sites if you play him right, okay? Capitao is a very tactical operator, and with 2 smokes, 2 firebolts, and hard breach charges, there are a ton of things that can go off and around. Opening hatches or just
56,
new lines of sights to use
okay.
his bolts from sets up some beautiful plays. However, with that said, the high risk factor, relying on team play, and the clunkiness of his ability lands him in a pretty meh position on this list. Slightly less meh is Amaru.
No. Amaru should be like way worse ranked. If we're going off utility, Amaru should be way worse.
Amaru has one of the best guns in the game, with a great secondary to back it up.
Yeah?
She also has flashbangs, which are the perfect complement to her aggressive loadout and ability. Her ability itself allows for fast and aggressive plays, but can also be used strategically in a team environment. Unfortunately for her, her ability is also her biggest detriment, being the main factor in many Amaru casualties. Most times you're better off with something that directly helps the team and has less risk factor. But if you want to just fly
I guess 55's not even a good rank, actually. Now that I think about it.
Whatever you want, it's your life. But if
these are like the the bottom of the barrel ops.
And pick a zero risk operator, then pick Rook. Even though he's a defender. We're swapping sides again. You get it. Rook is pretty good after getting a buff. Having a 2-time sight and giving everyone on the team an extra 20 health with self-revive is always a good way to go. The more health, the more likely you'll survive your gunfights, giving you more opportunity to collect some kills. Rook armor also guarantees that you get downed before dying, meaning self-revive is always on the table as long as you're not shot in the face. This is great, especially at the lower ranks, but the higher you go, the more enemies will actually land their headshots, meaning the more Rook sacrifices your team will have.
Okay, chat and YouTube, I'm curious, what are your top 5 operators? Like, actually, what are your top 5 favorite operators that you think are the best?
The Rook! Wait, are we at 53 already? We're almost through 20 operators. Oh, no.
Cav!
Cav is garbage. Everyone knows that. No, I'm gonna have to restart this whole video. Psych, bitch! Psych! I know 53 is a high placement for Cav, but hear me out. Players are neglecting droning and flank watch more than ever before. There are tons of opportunities for Cav to single-handedly win the round if you play it smart.
He's kind of right.
Reward, but I genuinely don't think she's as bad as everyone makes her out to be. If you want a more in-depth explanation and a guide on playing
kind of right.
Mega genius unstoppable way like me, then check out this video right here. For now, let's move on. Maverick is next, as a slightly less useless operator now that Tubero is in the game because he can stop bandit tricking. With Tubero being able to freeze those walls, it might be the best strategy now to just walk up and map some footholds to stop bandit from being able to trick. If the wall is frozen, you will get stuck in the ice, so just be careful of that. This bandit Tubero combination is going to be really good, and bringing Mav can mess it all up. That being said, Cade is still going to be a tricky one, so I wouldn't be surprised if his ban rate spiked up this season. Mav is lower on this list as I still think he's the worst hard breacher, being very high risk and taking a lot of time to actually open those walls. EMP grenades and other hard breachers are just much safer and more time efficient. Next up is Zero, who's got to be one of the most misunderstood operators in the game. Either you think he's ass, or you think he's the most
True.
The thing is, Zero is extremely impactful on the right bomb sites, and with
the
right
lineup. Dude. He kind of is.
Practically useless. Zero picks can be good, like on Bank and Chalet. These are two
He kind of is, Chad.
Impactful, but the flexibility in the operator lineup allows the space to pick Zero. You don't need an excess of hard breachers or explosives in your team's lineup. On the other maps, not only is Zero much less effective, but the team would benefit much more from other operator picks.
Dude, this guy kind of has ball knowledge.
Teammates won't even get on the cams anyway.
Okay.
Bravo was a fantastic addition to Team Rainbow as a
no, she's got to be better.
Unique interactions.
I think Brava's got to be better.
The clutch drone is pretty big and easy to take out as a defender, but it also takes time to interact with the gadget before it gets the hack off. This gives defenders even more time to take out the drone before you hack their utility, and it reveals the position of the drone when you go to hack the utility. I also wish it recharged similar to Twitch so that you could continue hacking more and more if you were sneaky enough. Most of the time, Brava is a little underwhelming and not that effective, but when the defense lineup is right, Brava can absolutely tear them asses up before the push has even started. Then we have Glaz. He's super underrated and thrives in positions that allow for sneaky smoke plays and aggressive entries into the site. If your team is doing a direct site take, he can be the Overwatch.
Glaz at 49.
And since Warden mains are usually off in Narnia, like the kill-hungry fiends that they are, most of the time there's nothing that can stop him. Well, except for maybe a lucky spray through the smoke or just a random C4. Number 48 is the Doctor. Doc is one of the most overpicked operators in the game, with one of the best weapons, to be fair, and health stims that will bring you back to full health from any HP. While he is a solid, well-rounded operator, he's still a selfish pick, and most people are just playing him for his extra fragging potential. I mean, that's fine. He's fine to pick, but if you get too many operators
real, this is true!
Team. Number 47 is Montagne. Or Montang, or like however you say it. I'm Canadian. I don't know. Where my Canadians at? Hit the comments with
Chad, he's kind of right.
Pick up your balls. I don't know. Monty is another super annoying operator. He gives so much intel and adds a plethora of pressure on the defenders while being practically unkillable. The constant threat of that unshield and the pressure that he creates causes people to panic and make bad decisions, especially in ranked. The only problem is when they don't panic, well, he can be sort of bad. Sometimes that extra info is great, but a lot of the time you're better off with 5 rifles instead of 4. It's finally happened, guys. IQ grenades are here, except grenades kind of suck now. The upside, however, is that it doesn't matter too much in IQ's case because now she finally has some destruction capabilities, which is exactly what she needed.
IQ 46?
ADS placements allows her to not only destroy utility, but refrain from using grenades to Jaeger ADSs and Wamai discs. Plus, the commando is nasty, and she's a great fragging op. I do still feel that her ability is pretty underwhelming, though. What if Ubisoft added like a scan ability similar to Solus that scans all the gadgets in her field of view for her team. I think this could be the boost she needs, but I'll let you guys argue about it in the comments. Number 45 is Pulse. Pulse is a top-notch info operator with his biggest weakness being the other team is probably heartless, so you won't be able to see their pulse. No, I'm just kidding. His biggest weakness is relaying the information to your team and then them actually listening to you. I swear, people just ignore callouts half the time, or they play Pulse and then don't call anything out. Like, we're a team, guys. Come on. He can still be a self-sufficient operator.
45 is, and that's kind of fair, actually.
Using the cardiac sensor to clear a path.
All right. He's kind of right, chat.
EMP is pretty weak compared to the other defender weapons. The most overbanned and overrated operator in the game has to be Jackal. Not even good. Okay, no, he is kind of good. He can be annoying at times, but he's not like the most.
Whoa. Jackal at 44, bro? Okay, this is your worst ranking of the video. Bro, I would literally put Jackal in my top 10. I would actually put it in my top 10.
Most broken operator ever. Not only can his job be done better with drones, but there's so many holes and counters to him that it's kind of
good range.
You can just play Cav or just hide in a corner off the start of the round, and it's nearly impossible to get tracked, allowing you to work your way around him and still pull off those flanks. He can be great if your team is hunting down a single roamer, but as soon as there's multiple, it's easy to get.
Bro, what is he gonna have in his top 5?
Your own worst enemy. Just stop banning this dude. Please. Melusi is next, a great trap operator, but she's just too easy to work around in the current meta. Especially now that grenades are less effective for killing people, people are going to use them much more for destroying utility now, like her bullet.
Good aim, holy
her
shit.
level is on the weaker side of the defenders, and overall, she's kind of meh. That being said, she's a great source of information for the defense, and she's a good
Melusi's just like,
especially against aggressive and unpredictable opponents. Thorn is next up with one of the best guns on the defense, yet one of the most dog water garbage gadgets in the game. Similar to Melusi or Ella, the traps are good for info, but because of their long activation time, you need to be careful with their placement, or you could end up getting the info a little too late. Sure, they kill people, but that's really only in the rare circumstances.
Yeah, Thorn.
Dog shit.
If you die to a Thorn, you're terrible.
Running gun aggression meta we're in, then she's a good pick for that. But if you're more of a strategic player, maybe we just steer clear of Thorn. Okay. At number 41 is Twitch. 41 is a great spot on this list. We're starting to get into the stronger operators of the game now.
Yeah.
And we're not even halfway through.
I agree.
Let's freaking go. Twitch not only has 2 extra drones, giving her more info than your average operator, but
alright, chat, we're starting to get into the good ops.
And many other ops. Getting rid of default cams around the map is great for keeping the other team guessing, and if you're talented and smart with the drone play, she can achieve so much within a round. Like Brava, it's pretty easy for the defenders to destroy her drones if they're looking for them, and
I agree.
Struggle to be effective with her. I do think she's one of the coolest operators in the game, though, with some really interesting plays coming out from the Twitch drones. Next, we hit the gritty with the track-slinging superstar, Gridlock, gritty moment, skibbity toilet. I'm 24, guys. I'm too old to be saying stuff like this. I don't even know what the
Gridlock over Twitch is criminal.
It doesn't matter. Let's keep going. Gridlock has had a major glow up this year, getting grenades added to her arsenal. Even without them, the smokes in combination.
Gridlock should not be at 40, bro.
Man of chaos that can single-handedly draw the defender's attention and make enough noise to cover the audio.
Bro, here's the thing with Gridlock. This is the cold hard truth. If Nomad didn't exist, Gridlock would be a top 10 operator because you would need it as flank watch. Because Nomad exists, Gridlock's like almost fucking pointless. Almost pointless.
Of a plant. Gridlock is a great
I really want to see what his top 5 is.
Can be used for flanks too. They are, however, very easy to destroy, so if you waver out of this playstyle too much, she becomes sort of bad. Her usefulness in specific situations and her averageness in others lands her at number 40. Then we have Flores. Flores is great for destroying utility.
39!
Great loadout to back it up. The Rotero drones can be fantastic for not only breaking things, but being the perfect distraction, whether you're hopping off and pushing behind it or having a teammate follow it up. He is somewhat situational and can be even useless at times if the defenders are picking operators with not much utility or if you're picking him on the wrong sites. Mute will also completely wreck him, and if you're running him round after round, the defender should also catch on and start shooting the drones before you can reach your target. And now that you can't cook grenades, Zofia is going to be a...
Oh, no. Get the fuck out. Brother, you put Zofia ahead of Flores? What?
major player for
what
now from below, along with Ashe. The introduction of Tubero actively stopping Bandit from being able to place down those batteries is more important than ever, and Zofia is one of the very few operators that can actually do it now. She's also a great counter utility operator, being self-sufficient in burning ADSs with stun grenades and then using the impacts to break the utility. Those stuns are also good to clear rooms if you don't have time to drone, and she's really well-rounded. Jackal's overrated counterpart, Thatcher, comes in at number 37. For a guy that gets insta-banned all the time, that's not very high, guys. Are we noticing something here? Are we using our brains? Are we thinking about something here? Okay, obviously Thatcher isn't the worst operator in Rainbow Six, but he's nowhere near good enough to explain being banned literally every single game. EMP gadgets are usually enough to get the job done, so why waste a whole operator's ability on it when you don't need to? Thoughts? The one exception is K-tricking. K-tricking is completely shut down by Thatcher, but very hard to get around with only EMP gadgets. Bandit is still on the table against Thatcher too.
Yeah, I agree. This is actually a really good spot for Thatcher.
Of course, Thatcher can also disable a lot more than
he's
just
good, but he's not great.
ADSs and traps, which still lands him in a solid spot. Nomad is next as a top-tier control operator with a well-rounded loadout. Her only weakness is really her lack of destruction. She's very versatile, whether you're using her to deny a flank, a run out, or even using the air jabs aggressively.
This is fair. 36 for Nomad.
And you can pretty much always find a use for them in a round. They are fairly easy to destroy, and sometimes
I agree.
Too much can be her downfall. So yes, while they're very strong, you still have to be attentive to them. At number 35 is Castle. Castle is easy to counter if you simply destroy all his barricades.
35, that's fair.
Different explosives that the attack has to offer. However, if his complex setups are neglected, it can single-handedly be the downfall of an attack. Castle is the master of complexity, taking default things and turning them into a puzzle that the attackers need to solve. If they don't get accurate information of what's going on before charging straight into the building, then they're gonna get caught off by a rare line of sight that wasn't previously possible. He's also great for stopping aggressive pushes and is overall a solid pick.
Bro, get to the top 10 already!
Roamer's like an idiot, okay? Stop doing that. Bad castle setups are equally as hurtful as good setups are beneficial, so you gotta be careful with them. If this were a competitive R6 list, Hibana would be one of the top operators in the game, but when it comes to rank, she's just a little bit weaker. She's still great for opening new lines of sight and is the best breacher when it comes to opening hatches. However, her slower breaching time compared to the other breachers is less than ideal. Her flashbangs and speed make for great playmaking abilities, and creating unique angles with the X-Kairos makes her one of the most fun operators to play. I love playing Hibana. I'm having so much fun right now. She's a solid pick, and you can...
Ice with the 5 gifted. W Ice in the chat. I agree. This is just sheerly ranked rankings.
Really never go wrong with her. You also can't really go wrong with a Lion pick. Lion is a well-rounded, simple operator that can kind of do it all. His Lion scans are great for team support or just holding the flank. It buys your team more time when it's needed, but it can also be used for gathering control by yourself. Now that he has grenades, he can achieve even more in a lineup, and with a fantastic weapon, he's overall just solid. He's one of my personal favorite operators when I'm playing on my own, so if you're looking for a new main for solo queue, then maybe give Lion a shot. Just above him is my Canadian homie, Frost. I'm a Frost lover, and even with the rework, Frost is a pesky operator that's one of a kind. Frost really throws
I stick with the 5
windows, similar to Alibi, being able to place those mats on the hop-ins without the attackers being able to shoot them prior
We're
to.
almost top 30.
Mat, or they just straight up don't check, you're basically guaranteed a free kill. You should really be placing them around where you're playing anyway, so
this is a good ranking for Frost.
Too big of a nerf to her, in my opinion. With a secondary shotgun for sight setup.
This is a good ranking for Frost. Yeah.
Solo strategies that give you the advantage. Frost is great, but of course, if the attacker's drawn well enough, she's nothing more than a slight waste of time to them. Aruni is up next as a playmaker that adds security to the defending lineup. Protecting utility or just giving info on important doorways, the Syria gates seem underwhelming, but they actually achieve a lot more than you.
Aruni's good, Aruni's good.
In a fist that's perfect for sight setup, playmaking, and various fisting, she's quite a versatile operator.
What?
I'm gonna get into ops now that for the most part just lack weaknesses, but maybe aren't as overpowered as the operators above them. Aruni isn't overpowered, but she's definitely very strong. Number 30 is Osa. Osa's the operator that's benefited most by the new nade changes. Sitting behind her shield and forcing people out of positions using the grenades is an easy way to pick off defenders as they run away from them. She's still just as lethal in every other aspect though, being able to cover herself for a plant, dominate powerful lines of sight, or
this is a good ranking.
Teammate to back her up. Back that thing up! No, that's not in that sense. When she's strong, she can dominate the attack, but when the defenders are prepared with plenty of explosives, she's not going to achieve much with her shields. I'm pretty much always running the 5.56 on her, along with Thermite, who happens to be the next operator. Thermite is fantastic, having both a
you gotta put Thermite higher. This is a ranked... It's for ranked, so this is fair. But God, Thermite's so important.
gun and tactical utility. He is the original support operator, opening new powerful lines of sight for the attackers, droning in the entries.
I think Thermite got robbed. I think Thermite's in my top 10.
Can't go wrong with Thermite, and you can even use his hard breaches for vertical holes if you don't have other uses for them. He's well-rounded and well-balanced, landing him at 29. Wamai is next up. Being able to
this is good. Yeah.
on the map and on the fly is a unique feature that makes him very versatile. He's a great solo operator with a great weapon, and you can use him like a rank star just to run around and shoot people, or you can play him more strategically, defending utility in powerful positions. You can pick him every round and have no problem, as long as you have some other operators on your team that have some information. His ability is more about protection and team play though, instead of racking up kills for your team. The newest operator, Tubero, if I could,
I would put Tubero higher, actually.
Is taking spot number 27.
I would put him higher, chat.
But his best asset is wall denial, or more accurately, time wasting. On sites with important breaches, he's able to waste a ton of the attacker's time, giving them less time to use later in the round. Combine him with Bandit or Cade, and opening breaches becomes nearly impossible. On some sites, this is going to be deadly, but on others, he might come off as slightly useless. Of course, there's also a ton of other perks to his abilities, like freezing yourself to avoid Glaz's thermal scope, or icing up claymores before a hop out, which lands him in a great spot. Speaking of wall denial, Bandit's up next at number 26.
26?
With Tubero now in the game and grenades getting nerfed, Bandit is going to be even stronger than he was before. He's still not quite as good as Cade is, and there's still defenders that are better picks, but he's definitely solid. His loadout is top notch with an MP7 and a C4, or even rock the M7.
I think he's gonna have Ace in his top 5, chat. I think he's gonna have Ace.
Bandit tricking is going to be huge now that you don't need to worry about nades coming through the floor and
Hey, remember, my prediction for the number 1 overall operator was Mute. I feel like it's gonna be Mute, bro. He's just so versatile.
Back out instantaneously.
I feel like it's gonna be Mute, chat.
You can still nade through the floor, but that 2-second indicator actually gives you plenty of time to get away, so that's not really something that you gotta worry about unless you're, like, once again, terrible at the game in the dog shit ranks and you suck at the game, you know? I think Grim can be
Grim's really good
at Bandit, though. Did you get that? That was a joke. That was a bee joke because he shoots bees. Grim is so strong now.
Grim's fucking nasty, yeah.
More than they should. His bees not only last so long, but their range is massive and give you
Grim is so good.
AKA wall hacks. You get wall hacks. How could you think he's bad? If you're using
Grim is so good, chat.
Defenders can do to fight back besides prey on the retake. The Commando is a top 5 gun in the game, and on top of that, he has a bailiff, so he can.
Dude, we're getting into like the elite ops now.
Secondary utility, he'd be even more ridiculous. So luckily, he's kept fairly restrained by the claymores and the hard breach gadgets. And honestly, they complement his kit pretty good too. Warden may appear somewhat useless on the surface, but he I
think Warden's even better than this, bro. I think Warden is a top 10 op, but I'm gonna let him cook. This guy has ball knowledge.
Handedly eliminates an entire playstyle from the attacker's arsenal. As long as you play him on site and use his glasses when the time is right, any sort of Yang, Flash, or
This is
completely shut down. For those rounds where his ability isn't used, he's still got a laser beam of a gun with a 1.5 sight and a C4 to make plays with. Having a Warden every
his shotgun's better, to be honest, bro.
It tells the enemy that you're not allowed to crutch your spam utility, and you're gonna need to get things done some other way.
His shotgun's better.
If they were never planning on using the flashes and stuff in the first place, another operator might be more useful. Like Maestro. Maestro was already super underrated before, but now with 3 evil eyes, he's all the more strong. If you place them appropriately, they're going to be difficult to grenade now with the new nade changes, while Ash and Zofia will just be too busy wasting their utility underneath the site to remove wall denial or on the mirror windows, which they can now destroy too. These cameras are insanely good for destroying attacker drones, or just zapping the actual attackers themselves for a distraction. He's clutch late round, has a disgusting LMG, and can even impact trick the hard breach on some sites. If you want to lock down the bomb site, Maestro is perfect, as long as you pick a safe spot to play on his cams. You won't catch Finka players on cams too often though, because they'll be too busy being a one-man army. A global heal at the press of a button, a disgusting gun, grenades for destruction, and the best secondary pistol in the game. What's not to love? Finka's only weakness is being shot right in the face. But with her loadout, you can confidently play an entry role or just hold down areas for your team. She's similar to Lion in that you can—
Bro, and Finka's even better on console, because most players on console can't hit headshots, especially in low ranks. So, like, I would even put Finka higher on console.
Always pick her and always benefit the team somehow, but she's just a step above Lion in terms of strength.
This is a good ranking.
If Finka's loadout isn't good enough for you, though, then Ram's definitely—
No! Wrong, sir! Ram's top 10. Ram is top 10. Bro, I'm actually curious what this guy's top 10 is. Bro, Ram at 21 is disrespectful to the fundamentals of this game. You don't know how good Tim Duncan was. Bro, you literally can't hear when you're playing against a Ram. You can't hear. Hearing is the most important thing in Rainbow Six Siege, and you can't fucking hear when you're against Ram. I genuinely would put Ram top 10.
Definitely should be. The R4C is one of the best guns in the game, and to top it off, we can throw a 1.5 or a 2x sight on it, and then have 3 uncounterable mini tanks.
You don't know how good Tim Duncan was!
What is that? What? What is that? What is that? Ram can smash down barricades at the speed of light, destroy entire strips of floor, blast open new angles instantly, and destroy practically every single defender gadget. I don't understand how people are underrating this operator still. She's still so underutilized, but she is not to be slept on. I'm telling you, please, run some Ram. Ram me, please. When your biggest downside is that you're a 1-speed, you've got a...
Someone in the chat just said stop coughing. Someone in the chat just said stop coughing. No. I'm done. Where's he at? They got him. Found him. Nala just said, stop coughing. What do you want me to do about sickness? Are you serious, Nala?
Lot going for you as an operator.
Stop coughing? How dare you?
Same boat, coming in at number.
Okay, Sledge at 20. Yo, delete the list. Bro. Ever since Buck got added into the game, Sledge isn't even a top 30 op. I'm gonna hear you out though.
20. With the old nades, Sledge was in my top 3 attackers in the game, but without them, he's a lot weaker. Still in a great spot at number 20, being able to create tons of vertical destruction, smash new entrances through walls, smash tons of different utilities with his hammer, and smashing people with his gun, and smashing your mom, and still maintaining the destructibility of the grenades. For these reasons, he's still going to be very high on this list. Ying is another highly underrated operator. With so many...
I got Kobat too. I got Kobat too. I have to put Ying at 2 for me, bro. Ying at 19 is disgusting. No, Ying's way better than that. I gotta go Ying at 2. To this day!
Candelas and smokes, she can single-handedly create a storming entry on the defenders in only a few seconds. She's even more powerful with the assistance.
What is this guy's top 5 gonna be? I'm so curious.
All at the same time. If Warden didn't exist, there would be practically nothing that could stop her besides Jaeger and Wamai. But that ever-lurking threat of the Warden is being held back at number 19. Speaking of Jaeger, he's next up at number 18. Jaeger's fallen off quite a bit since the utility meta a few years ago, but he's come back in Operation Deep Freeze once again. I know we talked about it a lot, but the floor grenades is actually impacting Jaeger quite a bit. Because they're so much weaker now, and people are going to default back to using grenades for destroying utility and clearing corners, the Jaeger ADSs are going to get a lot more action. Despite not having the 1.5 sight, the carbine is a very
Jaeger at 18. This is fair. This is fair.
Keeps you passive and patient, playing around your ADSs, knowing you're safe, and forcing the attackers to push into you. That safety net is a pivotal part of his gameplay and lessens that stress in those key moments. Next up is Ash, who is kind of a beast.
Ash at 17, get the fuck out. Get out of town. Ash at 17, get out of town. Get out of town. Ash at 17? Are you smoking pot? 7? I want to hear what he says. How is Ash 17th in the game? Explain.
Again, he's kind of a beast. That's not my Trump impression. That's
Oh my god, my face cam was frozen that entire time. How long was it frozen for?
Me being excited. Between Maestro having an extra cam and Mira's being breakable with explosives, Ash is going to have much more use now. She's going to get a lot of action. There should always be things to destroy on a round-to-round basis, and on top of that, she's got 2 great weapons and a non-existent hitbox. I don't care what you say, Ash is still the hardest operator to kill in Rainbow Six. The Claymores fit her playstyle well, but the
so why is she 17? Why would you put her at 17, bro? Why?
Ash has and
she's
always
top
will be
5
operator. Goyo is next, and he remains an underrated operator in Rainbow Six still.
This is fine.
4 different gas canisters that are some of the best crowd control in the game. Place them on barricades, and they'll activate themselves once the attackers break the barricade, locking them out for 20 seconds, giving you time to rotate, adjust, and prepare for that.
Cam froze. Yo, guys. I'm cool with you saying Cam froze, but when it's unfrozen, please stop.
push. Place them in other areas and you can choose when to use them. If
You're not helping!
In one direction, you can choose to pop the Goyo there to stall out that side, or pop the Goyo behind you and pursue the fight safely, knowing you won't get pushed from behind. The fire from these things do so much damage, but if you're not shooting them at the right times or you're placing them poorly, then he's not going to be as good as he could be. Obviously, maybe that was a little too obvious. Mirror placements follow the exact same logic. Placing them poorly is going to make her pretty.
This is a perfect ranking.
Luckily, she's a little more straightforward.
This is perfect.
I genuinely think you
perfect ranking.
Mirror setup on any site, but now that explosives can destroy the mirrors, she's a lot weaker than the every game instaban. She's still really good, but instead of locking down a single entrance like a one-man army,
this is a perfect ranking.
Extra protection.
Okay, Pox. Okay.
Which
cook up.
Change. Number 14 is Yana. Back when she had grenades, Yana was a top 3 attacker in the game, but she's still very, very strong. Flashbangs are now on par with grenades as the best secondary gadget in the game, and the clones are infinite information that becomes very valuable as the round progresses. Having the late round clone for quick info.
Chad, I don't know about Ayana at 14.
You can clone yourself, bait with the clone.
Bro, who is he gonna say at 1?
All that, she has 2 lethal primary options and the destructibility.
This guy gets like horny over utility, bro.
And even without them, you can be extremely lethal.
This guy's a utility head.
2.0, and if you post up in the right spot with her, her white head will blend in perfectly, giving her the added albino buff. Ubisoft, if you're listening, please take out her white head. This is one of the most annoying. As we progress closer and closer to these top 10 operators, though, Legion falls out of the running at number 13.
This is good. This is a good ranking.
In the game, between the T5,
this is a good ranking.
Secondary shorty shotgun and impact grenades, Legion is stacked right off the bat. Add in the goo mines to complement his loadout perfectly, and you can not only lock down multiple different areas, but be the ideal counter.
We're almost top 10, chat!
Information, area control, shield denial, and deals a ton of damage in the process. He's one of the best solo queue operators in the entire game, and there's little to complain about besides the fragility of his gadget. In other words, shooting or meleeing the goo mines is a simple workaround here if you spot them out. Valk is next up with the best.
This is good. No, okay. His top 15 is fucking clean. Besides Ayana, this is perfect. I would literally put Valkyrie at like anywhere from 11 to 13 range. This is literally another perfect fucking ranking. This guy locked in.
All the defenders. You can get easy C4 kills, pull off great flanks.
Valk's so good, it's insane.
Doing and know what's happening before it. Stop yelling! Stop yelling! Before it does. Anyway, this is very powerful.
He just yell at his cat?
The higher you go in competition. Down in the lower ranks, no, she's nowhere near this strong. But in the mid to higher ranks, she's disgusting. IQ is a very strong counter to her, but sometimes even IQ gets to the cameras when it's already too late. Valk is not to be slept on, but with so many strong defenders in the game right now, she's gonna stay at number 12. And just one off qualifying.
Who's 11?
Top 10 is Mute. Mute is so strong.
You don't know how good Tim Duncan was! I can't, no. Mute at 11 is insanely disrespectful to everything Mute mates stand for. This is so disrespectful. Bro, he has a shotgun. He has an SMG-11. He has a C4. He has 4 Mute jammers. How dare you place Mute at 11, sir? How dare you?
In so many different ways. He can counter dope.
This psychopath is gonna put... I think he's gonna put Cade at 1. This guy's... He really wouldn't even be wrong. This guy's like a utility buff. He loves utility.
It could be calls, lion scans, Flores, hard breachers, drones, and even Blitz's shield. His information denial is top tier, and his gadget denial is very strong too. He's slightly less effective on console because the SMG-11 is so much more difficult to use on the sticks, but on PC, his loadout is beautifully crafted. He definitely thrives in close range environments, which is perfect in combination with a Mute jammer around a corner. Mute is a good pick on literally every site in the entire game. Now it's time to talk about the 10 best
top 10
in all of Rainbow Six Siege, but before we do, I just want to remind you that you can get my in-game Rainbow Six charm right now by subscribing on Twitch. And if you hear my cat,
get the Jynxzi charm, yeah!
If you have Amazon Prime, it's completely free, and it's just
and
a beautiful way to not only support me but look sick while you
top 10, Chad. Top 10.
Let's dive into the top 10. At number 10 is Smoke. Smoke is a top tier playmaker.
I like this.
You can use the cannon.
I like this. I like this.
Or use them aggressively to isolate gunfights and make plays. He's got the shotgun for sight setup, setup, but he's also able to position himself in close range areas where you can just fold people. This is because the smokes allow you to seal that distance. He can also use the smokes to block off angles.
I think he's gonna put Kate at one, chat.
Really good with one operator. My recommendation would be Smoke. His skill gap is endless, and a good smoke player can carry their team single-handedly. Number 9 is Buck.
This is a good ranking. He's 9. Yep.
Second highest attacker on this list. Defenders are just so strong right now, and we'll get into that a little more once we get to the rest of the operators, but Buck is the one-man army of Siege. Now that grenades are nerfed, Buck is one of the very few options in terms of doing vertical takes from below, and he's the best.
He's gotta have Dokkaebi in his top 5. He's gotta have Dokkaebi in his top 5.
Fly, the fastest soft breaching in the game, and a fluid playstyle that leaves the defenders in awe. The C8 is a machine of a weapon, and the stuns take these quick plays and make them even flashier. Dude. Whether you're a complete noob or an experienced player, Buck is always going to be a good solid operator to main. Number 8 is Echo, and he is hands down the most underrated operator.
Yeah. I like this.
Rainbow Six. Echo is so strong, being able to stall time all the way from the start to the end of the round. If you use the yokais aggressively early on as the attackers are trying to enter the map, it messes with all the usual timing and it will throw them off right from the beginning. This time stall is only a start though, because Echo also has 2 top tier secondaries between the impact grenades and the shield.
What is this guy's top 5?
In the MP5S. Echo only keeps getting better when you use him aggressively.
Valid ranking.
To grab the round by the balls and squeeze. The yokais not only provide information for these aggressive plays, but they can actively disorient and distract the attackers while your team is getting aggressive on them. Yokai drives in, stuns the attackers, they're looking at it, your teammate swings, shoot them in the face, game over, baby. This combination is one of the most beautiful things to witness in the entire game, but I could talk about Echo forever, so let's move on. Number 7 is Capcan. Capcan is one of the most...
Yes! I knew I would see him up here. You guys know I love Capcan. Bro, he works in champion lobbies, and he definitely works in copper lobbies. He's so... Bro, if there's any new players who just want to get free kills, go Capcan.
To use, but one of the most effective at the same time. This place and go style of play is a favorite among rank stars, and Capcan is one of the best to use for it. He's a fantastic counter to aggressive, high-risk gameplay, but he can also be clutch late round if his traps are placed near and around the site. Capcan is a tool that forces the attackers to...
I love this guy's rankings, bro!
Be cautious, which can put them on the back foot and give your team the advantage. Next up, just narrowly missing the top 5 is Solus. Solus is a...
Okay, let's be fair. At the time of this recording, Solus was top 6. But she literally got nerfed into the fucking ground. So I can't blame this guy. Solus isn't even top 40 anymore, bro. I can't blame him, though. At the time of this recording, yeah.
Very strong defender, being able to hunt down and limit.
This is the only operator that's went down like 40 rankings, though, to be honest.
Shut down plants. Solus's biggest strength, however, is her ability to identify what information the attackers have on the defenders.
Stop typing 7. Stop typing 7.
Genius plays that work perfectly. This ability allows you to quickly and easily identify the holes in an attacking push and completely shut it down. Solus has so many different uses.
Chat, I kind of like the rankings right now.
This video once I'm done telling you about the top 5 operators. Dokkaebi is going to be our 5th best.
Great rank. Oh, okay. Great ranking. She's the best. In my opinion, she's the best attacker in the game. If we're going off of abilities, she's the best attacker in the game. You're literally roaming, you're sitting in a corner, you haven't gotten droned, and then out of nowhere you just hear zoom, 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 and then I have Stompin' wall banging me, Redis is making vert on me, J-Guns is jumping in a window. Like, it happens so fucking fast. Dokkaebi at top 5 is a perfect fucking ranking.
Best operator in Rainbow Six Siege. She fits the aggressive meta perfectly.
Who's gonna be 1, bro? It's gotta be a defender, right? It has to be. This game will always be defender sided.
Number 1 pick to solve the problem. You just call the phones, hunt them down, shoot them, and then you get to hack the cameras to get even more information. It's really just beautiful. Here's the thing. Teamwork is a difficult part of Rainbow Six. However, the better teamwork you have, the more effective you're going to be in beating the other team, especially if they're individually more skilled than you. Dokkaebi is a fantastic operator to bring teamwork to a lineup without having to even think about it. If your team is simply not as good as the people you're playing against, Dokkaebi is the operator that can
good flash. Oh, never mind.
Actually give you a chance. At number 4, we have Kate. Kate is one of the strongest operators in Rainbow Six.
Agree.
Not only is he
number 4 overall. overall. Yeah.
Down, but he's also super broken in combination with Tubero or when Cade tricking. He's the only wall denial that can also get hatches, and he's got a sick loadout to back it up. Whether you're in the lowest or the highest rank in the game,
Cade's
he's
so
going to be
good.
a strong pick that forces the attackers to bring specific...
Bro, do you want to know easy ways to rank up? And like, this is the best advice I've ever given. If you're in a low rank and you actually want to rank up, just use Cade. I'm telling you. A lot of low-ranked players, they don't understand the concept of bringing a Thatcher and a Hibana yet. They don't even get that yet. If you want to get, like, from silver to plat in, like, 3 days, just fucking play Cade, bro. Make players actually play Siege to get into the objective. Don't just let them walk up to a wall and explode it. Make them actually work. You will win so... Like, it's actually mind-boggling how many games you'll win. You're not going to get that many kills, but you're going to win a lot of games.
Operators or waste tons of time. You know, he's not necessary 100% of the time, but he's still going to be very strong. Number 3 is Ace. Ace is the best attacker in Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
You literally ace every round. No
He's
joke.
so good.
Yeah, it's a joke. It is a joke. His Selmas are not only
He's
the
so good.
creatures, but one of the most versatile too. They're great for range or just main
It's Richie's
breaches,
favorite
but they're
attacker.
also
Come
really
on,
good
bro.
For vertical destruction and defender utility like castles and shields.
He's
Because of
so
their quick
good,
deployment,
bro.
A toss of an ace charge is fast and efficient enough to throw down as sound cover before making a play. Let's not forget
I like
that
this
he
rank.
has the best weapon in the entire game with the AK-12. Something about Ace.
Wait, so
is
who's gonna
has
be
the
2 and
energy to
1?
Make it happen.
I'm not
and
thinking.
He's earned his spot as the 3rd best operator. Number 2 is one of the newer additions to Rainbow Six, Fenrir. Fenrir is one of the most insanely OP operators Ubisoft has ever made. You don't even need to actively use his gadget for him to be...
This is too generous. And I'll say this pre-nerf and post-nerf, I don't think Fenrir is 2. Like, he's still good now, yeah. I just think his gun is just not, like, if you have a 1.0 scope in today's game of Siege, you can't be a top 2 op in the game. I'm sorry, you can't. Who's number 1? Am I, like, blanking right now?
Ridiculously strong, but when you do, he becomes even...
Who has he
better
not
using
said?
his gadget on a roam, on site, or both. You can effectively have enough information to understand everything that's going on.
Who's number
around
1?
you. You'll never be caught by surprise with Fenrir on the board, and working the rotation of the traps into his gameplay will take him to the next level. Or you can just throw one in
Who's
a really
one?
big room like the lobby of Bank, and if they walk past it, they're going to be able to only see 4 feet in front of them and have to turn around and run across the whole open room while you shoot them in the back of the head. And finally, we have the number 1 best operator in Rainbow Six Siege, Azami.
On God, he's right. On God, he's right. Right when I started playing tournaments, like seriously playing tournaments, if you play a good Azami player, you can't push anything. She is so fucking nasty. I want to hear what he says.
Azami has been an unstoppable powerhouse ever since she was released. Her Kivas create instant cover, block out entrances, and can be used in a ton of different ways that are all very, very strong. Not only can she reconstruct the site similar to Castle, but her Kivas can be used aggressively.
She's so
too,
creative,
to make plays
bro.
and get the advantage. Even if the attackers are bringing tons of explosives, there's still ways to use her Kivas on the fly to gain the upper hand. You can pick her on literally any site, and she's still consistently way too strong. How she hasn't been nerfed yet is a mystery.
W rankings, bro. That honestly, he did pretty well. This was 2024. Bro, he needs to make one of these for 2025. Bro, but this was a banger.